Hi folks, my name's Tom Bickle. I've been an accountant for 16 years and I own the accountancy practice JP Blackmoor in the southwest of England. Well, I haven't really been planning. We've all been waiting for 10 years, haven't we? So it's nice that the revenue's finally pulled their finger out. But I think from 2018 onwards, I was ready for MTD, for income tax, in so much that if the revenue said, right, tomorrow, everyone's got to have digital accounting records, I would have been ready. I had my software choices. I knew what I was doing. I've kept my finger on the pulse with it. I'm fine with that. It's only since February 2025 that I've really gone, I need to understand the finer detail because I feel like the sort of attitude has shifted and the revenue might finally actually implement MTD for income tax. And obviously that very famous tax calc webinar in February, that was really the catalyst for me to really get involved, and I've lived and breathed MTD for income tax since then. It's been a joy. So here comes a soppy comment. Major gains is obviously MTD Therapy. I've had a real joy in meeting so many new people, getting to talk to accountants day in, day out. But from a client perspective, I have had clients where for years I've always recommended to them that they go onto digital accounting software. They will benefit from it. And I'm not going to say that a lot of people won't benefit from being forced to comply with MTD. And from a personal point of view, I'm glad that they're now moving on to it because I can almost say, look, I told you this was really good for your business. You're going to make much better decisions. How can I start any conversation about this without saying it has been HMRC? Any system that takes 10 years to get implemented and then it feels like the last 12 months we're going to see 10 years of work all happen in one go, that's been the sticking point for me. Lack of communication for years, lack of actual drive and movement and things actually happening. I think the trust issue needs to be rebuilt with revenue. The reason why so many accountants aren't testing right now, and the reason why thousands of accountants are burying their head in the sand and not even looking at what the rules are, is because they still believe it's going to be postponed. And I think this is where the revenue have got a long journey ahead now in rebuilding that trust and relationship with accountants, that when they say this change is coming in, they actually stick to it. Payrolling of benefits, postponed. Companies' house changes, postponed. How can we continue as a profession being told by HMRC this is going to change, and then 6 months down the line, oh no, we're postponing it again. So that has been a sticking point. It's really infuriating. I do think, and I will make a positive note on this, that I feel like 2025, when we look back in 5-10 years time, we're going to say 2025 saw the big shift in the relationship between HMRC, the professional bodies and accountants. And I think MTD Therapy is going to have a big thing to do in that. And the reason for that is that we are communicating with HMRC in a way that accountants have never done that before. The work that Craig Ogilvie and Sam Wood are doing and all of their team, really are working hard to go to all the events, to go to practices, to talk to professional bodies, to do webinars. That's a level of communication we've probably never seen before from HMRC. And I've got a lot of respect for them in that they put themselves out there on LinkedIn knowing that when they make a comment, they're going to get a lot of replies from accountants that aren't going to be positive. And that does take a lot of bravery, so I've got a lot of respect for that. But I really I'm hoping and praying that the professional bodies take note of this and stop living in the dark ages, open up your communication, tell us as your members what you're doing. Because at the moment, I feel like we don't really know what the professional bodies have done in the past, what they're doing now. It would be great if we opened up this level of communication with HMRC, where maybe when you have a once a month gathering of HMRC and the professional bodies, you say, here's the topics that we discussed, this is the outcome, this is what we're going to talk about in the future. We as accountants, I think, would love that. We would love to know that someone's fighting our corner, because I feel like the professional bodies probably are, but they're not telling us that they are. So we're just sat here going, well, what have they done in the last 6 months to get the message across to the revenue that we are all panicking a little bit, that we have such little information. And also, sticking point, insurers, where have you been? Literally, where have you been? I cannot believe that we are now in September and the insurers are still not coming out to say, yes, guys, this is what we want to see in the letters of engagement. We want to see you do X, Y, and Z. Yes, I know we've got the PCRT, but even if you say, guys, there's nothing to worry about, so long as the client approves the quarter update before you submit, we'll be happy. Fine, say that. Come out and say it. At the moment, we're in no man's land. We're waiting for when they decide to come out of the woodwork, basically. I don't mean to offend any accountants or bookkeepers or professionals at this point. I will make that clear, but I'm going to. Yes, the revenue have been useless for years in getting the message out that MTD is going to happen. I know there is the temptation to say we've had it postponed for years. That's absolutely fine. But we're not in that state anymore. I mean, I'd be gobsmacked if they postponed it now. The billions that the software vendors have put into this, if that doesn't happen for them, I think they'll be the biggest problem for HMRC, not us as accountants. And I think the HMRC, their systems can't cope with the current system. Like their infrastructure isn't there, so they've got to change it. So they will do that. And I think that will happen in April 2026. Whether it's actually working properly when we come to do the first quarter updates is another story, but I do think that it is happening. So I do get frustrated when I go into an agent webinar, and whether this is planted or true or not, I will see questions like, is partnership income included? What is the turnover threshold? That isn't from a lack of knowledge because the information isn't out there. That's just lack of preparation for a webinar, which, to be honest, if now in September you're an agent, an accountant and bookkeeper that hasn't even looked up who might be affected in your client base for MTD, you've got a lot of work to do, because we're coming up to tax return season now, and we're all going to have the same excuse of, I've got so many tax returns to do, I cannot find the time to invest in looking at MTD. Trust me, just get the basics done. So when your clients ring you up and say, am I going to fall under MTD? You should be able to have an answer for them. Do your segmentation as soon as possible, get it done. There is a team of HMRC that are there if you do your beta testing, which I'm not, by the way. Let the big boys fix the problems, and I know that they're there to support. But as accountants, we can all talk to each other. The days have gone by where if two accountants were in a room, they'd all both stand at the wall looking away from each other. We actually do want to work together, and I feel like that needs to be embraced. So let's all just work together, talk together, get it sorted. Right. One thing I wish people knew about making tax digital for income tax is it is not getting postponed. I genuinely, if they postpone it now, what changes could they ever suggest they're going to make in the future that anyone would take any notice of? I really do feel like this is last chance saloon. The revenue has to implement this in April. The software companies have invested billions. It's happening. Let's just get on with it. I'll be offering a lot. So I think at the moment for me, it's making sure that those people that are affected over the next 3 years are fully informed. So I've been keeping people up to date with emails. I've been making phone calls when we talk through generic stuff. I keep them up to date with the changes that are happening. And that's the same for pretty much every client. So even if they're a limited company, I'm telling them what's happening with sole traders and landlords, because they might decide they're going to get an investment property tomorrow and they need to know about these rules. You can't just assume that they're going to know about it. We have to tell them. So at the moment it's education. For the clients that are coming in from April 2026, we are getting them onboarded with software now. Between now and the end of March, they're going to start playing around with it. I'm giving everybody a bespoke training module, so they're going to get like a guide for how their business needs to do the bookkeeping if they're going to do the bookkeeping themselves. And if I'm going to do the bookkeeping, or my team is going to do the bookkeeping, it's about getting them trained up so that it makes my life and their life easier. So they're going to have free agent, they're going to have zero if they work with me. If someone comes to me and says, I'm already using QuickBooks or Sage, fine, I'll help them with their end of year accounts and bookkeeping if necessary. I have got a few clients where they are going to be on spreadsheets. Now, I'm torn at the moment. I love TaxCalc, but until you tell us how much it's going to cost, I cannot commit to using TaxCalc's bridging software. So please, guys, I love you, but get your pricing out there, because I met a client in the wild the other day that uses TaxCalc for their VAT bridging software, and they asked me, how much is the income tax one? I don't know. So we need to know. Other than that, absolutely brilliant. I'll be using them if I can. So fantastic, 2 options there for bridging. Otherwise, it is free agent and zero. I think like the biggest challenge for my clients is seeing past the financial cost and the time and the energy it's going to take them to either do the bookkeeping themselves or pay someone to do it. So I will be doing bookkeeping for clients that don't want to do it, don't have an interest, don't have the skill set to do it. I do it day in, day out. So for me, it's fine. But for them, they don't have time to sit down once a week and stay on top of their bookkeeping. So they're going to have to pay someone to do it. And I think that is the problem we have as accountants, is getting it across to them that, yes, we understand it's a pain. We didn't ask for this change to happen, but you're going to do this anyway. So why don't we extract the benefits out of having accounting software to make it worthwhile? So for clients that are on CIS, they're not going to benefit from, they're not going to change anything. They're not going to make any decisions based on what Xero tells them when they're producing their P&L account and saying, I reckon my tax bill is going to be this. It's about, right, okay, we know what your tax bill might be for next year. So if you're underpaying at the moment into your savings account ready for that tax bill, let's increase it or decrease it. Let's plan ahead. Let's look at what we can do. Are you getting the most out of it? Let's make the use of the software. Effectively, yes, there are benefits to MTD. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the fact that we've been forced into it, but the benefits for the clients going onto it is better understanding of their financial position, better planning, better organisation. But that comes at a cost, a financial cost, a time cost, and an admin cost. And for some people, they are not going to see those benefits. They're going to say all of those, the admin side does not outweigh the benefits of having that financial planning information. So as simple as that for me. If you ask me, if they wanted to support me, it would be forget about the APIs for now. Just please focus on getting the core elements of making Tax Digital working with the software companies. Let's get it ironed out. Let's make sure people are testing. Let's make sure that the penalty system is robust. When it comes to foreign income, make sure the details are ironed out on that. When it comes to when people need to leave making Tax Digital, is that all ironed out? Do we know the processes? Get all of the information that we need as accountants on paper in a guide like you used to do. The old school accountants remember when there was a big change, there used to be a big revenue manual. We need a revenue manual for all these things, because then as accountants and professional bodies, we'll look through it and go, oh, hang on a minute, that doesn't quite cover this client that's got this problem. Revenue, can you get this clarified? Yeah, done. Manual updated. That's what is important to me right now, is have all of that ready so that when we come to April, we're rocking and rolling. The API stuff, we know that the calculations are going to be rubbish for at least the first 12 months. So let's not focus on the APIs. Let's get the core stuff ready, worry about the APIs further down the road. And that's what I want HMRC to support me with. Secondly, I don't know if it's changed, but as far as I'm aware, the HMRC MTD helpline closes right when we all need them the most in April of 2026. If they keep that open, that's going to help a lot of agents. Now, I've always believed that there was about 45,000 registered agents, but I did see Sam Wood, who works for HMRC, quote 60,000 the other day. And I saw from one of the articles years ago, there was about 80,000. So we're between 80 and 40,000, wherever it is. Either way, that is a lot of accountants and agents that need support next year. So we need that line kept open and supported and helped and get everyone signed up and on board. Well, it has been a bit of a shambles, hasn't it, quite honestly. I really do like Craig and Sam. They're doing a fantastic job, but it's all too little too late, really. We are rushing to get everything ready. The fact that the software companies aren't 100% there because they're waiting on the revenue is worrying. The revenue I don't feel is there, and that isn't because the guys that are in the offices aren't working hard enough. I know for a fact that everybody that works at HMRC is working really hard. This goes back to government and funding. The government has stripped out resources from HMRC for years, underfunded it, understaffed it. They've removed so many wonderfully experienced people through retirement or relocation, whatever you want to say. We are losing the human element at HMRC, which is such an important element. And that is what I think is my frustration. It's been delayed so many times. We're now at the point where we need massively clear guidance and we still don't have it. So I'm going to treat software vendors as other professionals. Clarity, I think, on what your software does. Does it produce 3 lines of P&L that goes to the revenue, or is it a full P&L? When we come to submit the end of year, do you actually have the ability to submit a tax return? Can you cover everything that we need to know about now? Because if you can't say you know exactly how your end of year product is going to look, how can we say, yeah, that's the one I want to use? We just don't know. And that worries me, because we as accountants we are your biggest salesmen. We sell more licenses than any of your account managers. So we need to be selling with confidence to our clients. And that's what worries me, is that we're telling clients, you go and use this software. But actually, when push comes to shove next year, we might be going, this isn't actually the best fit because we didn't know this is how they did it. So that's my frustration with software. Pricing, make sure everyone's got their pricing done. Insurers, come out of the woodwork, tell us what's going on. Professional bodies, just tell us what you've been doing, really, would be great. Love that. And work with us more, ask us more questions. It's amazing to see that AAT have joined the chat in MTD Therapy. I'm looking forward to talking to Johnny. As far as the ATT are concerned, changed nothing. Emma Rawson is an absolute legend. If we all had Emma Rawson working in every professional body and at HMRC, the world would be a brighter place. Great work, Emma. If you're not in MTD therapy, you are missing out on a huge amount of information all the time. We're now doing webinars, which will be, they're not going to be like the software ones, to be honest. There's going to be controversy. We're going to have the Q&A chat box open. But MTD therapy, I've found is a lot more than that now. When it first started, it was just about MTD. Now we've got all the subgroups for general chat, social group, the neuro spicy bunch. I just think there's a community there that's fantastic, and it's all about supporting one another. Even if it's just to say, I've had a rough week, I need a quick pick me up. Everyone's there for you. It's fantastic. If you're an accountant, honestly, it's a fantastic resource. Get involved. It's a good laugh as well. And quite frankly, we need it, don't we, with MTD coming in. I think, without sounding too sentimental, I still think that when Robin was invited by TaxCalc to talk at can't remember the name of the event earlier in the year, I feel like that was a really good moment for MTD therapy. Robin was getting recognised for how great she is at what she's doing and her expertise, and that felt nice to see. And then, Nick, a couple of days ago, Nick Padenberg, for him to be talking with Iris about MTD, and he's an admin of MTD Therapy, the guys that are putting in all the hours and the effort and keeping the group running, they're getting recognised, and that's a nice moment to see. On the other side of things, Gabby and Les, the comedy duo that never disappoint. I love the interactions that everybody has with one another. You can really see everybody's personality shine through. I still think Chris is a spy for HMRC, and I've deliberately put that in there because I'll bet you he doesn't watch this. It's been really nice meeting some of the characters from, I've seen names for years, like Mike Toombs. I've seen Mike's name in Facebook groups for probably 10 years. And now I'm chatting with him. It's like I'm talking to a little accountancy celebrity, like Rob Newman, coming across his book when I got to read that. I mean, it's still here now. Still reading through it. It's absolutely brilliant. I couldn't really say there was a moment. I think the whole thing has just been fantastic. It's been a great environment. I would really consider, Robin, Nick, all of the guys of MTD Therapy to actually be quite close friends now. We talk all of the time, every single day, and that's a great moment. And I think as well, on top of that, like being able to talk to Craig and Sam at HMRC has been quite a humbling experience, because they are nice guys, even though they work for the revenue, would be the old expression. But generally, they are doing some really positive change. So I hope that continues. Sign up to MTD Therapy if you haven't already. It's a good group of people. I think, I don't know if I've already said this or not, but it's been on my mind. I really do hope that HMRC and the professional bodies reflect on 2025 and say, do you know what? The work that Robin and MTD Therapy is doing between bridging the gap between HMRC and accountants is genuinely working. We're making progress. Things are changing. People are being listened to. Emma Rawson of the ATT, whenever we have an issue or a question, we go to Emma and we have an answer very quickly. And that relationship between accountants and HMRC has been lacking for probably decades. And I think that a lot of that is down to Craig and Sam for how open they are, how much they are communicating with everyone, and I applaud them for it. And I really hope that HMRC goes, do you know what those two boys are doing, and the team around them is communicating with accountants that are frustrated and fed up and need answers, and it is working. So I think that would be my last thing, is I really hope the professional bodies, the insurers and HMRC look at the interactions that everyone is having and says, this is actually working. Let's keep doing this moving forward. Maybe we need to scrap some of the Quangos and whatever those organisations are called, and actually have an organisation which gets the professional bodies, HMRC together, and actually drive something forward. Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Cheers, everybody.